No, I'm not believing this. I can't. Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah! To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Why would Scotland Yard be involved? We're going to Hong Kong, dude. Unless the Scotland Yard wouldn't have jurisdiction in Hong Kong, even if Britain was colonizing Hong Kong for a bit. Oh. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. What? Huh? Not again! When did he do that? Especially as they are on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I'd owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. No! Don't try to play it like he's actually dead! He can't be dead! Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. He can't be dead! I think I'm having a delayed reaction. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. No, we know the answer to this already. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instant. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I don't even have the time to cry. I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. The writing on the floor? The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written here means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ugh. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't have possibly written anything. Because he was already dead! That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So, Susato-san has noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Nani? What? Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, the proof that this was no accident? I don't actually know the answer to this. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident, in other words. I don't even know what the accident is. I mean, I don't know what this is telling me. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident, in other words. Something that proves this wasn't an accident? It's not the journal, right? No. It's not this. I don't know what the answer to this is. The ship's log? What point are you trying to make with that? No, so it's not it. I'm starting to see how Cosmo's death really happened. I think. Oops, that was wrong. Okay. I actually don't know the answer to this. I think that you are starting to see nothing of the sort. And that was the evidence to prove it. Whoops. That's fine. Ugh. If it was no accident, then what we should be looking for is one of two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of the accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Most compendiously put, my dear madame. Ah, I see. What? I confess your rather languid I see doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo.
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does, anyway.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. What? Wait, hold up. Sorry. What is it? Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of an accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. What, the cat? There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. Is it the cat? Evidence right there in Cosmo's cabin is undeniable. No, I thought it was gonna be the cat. I feel like, how did the cat get out? Oh, I guess they said that he went through that ventilator. My bad. I thought they were trying to insinuate that the cat got let out because someone opened the door. Shit. Skip. Okay, so it's not the picture. It's not the scuff. It's not the ship log. The scuff mark? Another piece of evidence proves there was no accident. In other words. The external injuries? The scuff marks? Hang on, let me just do my usual saving. Because I have no idea what they're looking for here. Like, it could be, like, possibly the no external injuries part? Or the scuff shoe mark? Oh, it is this. Okay. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass belt the kitten had around its neck. We already know about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where is the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Oh.
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no.
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth in order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's...
You are wasting time. Oh, someone else was there. Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only one other person in cabin where a young student died was you. It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shot inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise, about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise, about the details. Would you mind? Oh, forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, okay. When he said, would you mind, I thought he was asking Sherlock or Herlock to like explain what he meant, but he was just saying, would you mind, as in shut up. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. And in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. Well, why didn't she pick up the other fucking piece of the wood? But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. Oh. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have casted any light on the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. So she knew to pick up half of a bell? Like, you could feel that it's a half. Oh, whatever, I don't know.
You all suspect me, don't you?
Seaman Stroganoff. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. Babushka. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? Humph, you are a great detective. You should know. You were with her? Oh, no. Look truth in eye. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked door? Yes, it's impossible. He's right. Oh, come on, we've been through this already.
But wait, I read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so that they can open and close them from the outside.
We just went over the fucking whole thing with the ship turning. Fucking hell, goddamn. Why does this happen every time? Thread, are you stupid? Those bulkheads are not barn doors, whatever. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Construction of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Sato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? And so Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind without having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. I imagine it's this, right? What? I can't even select it. Oh. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe. Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects.
Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, yes! That's it! When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed, such a shitty lock, but also Kazuma! I can't believe it! I won't believe it! The SS Buria made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hands across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all again, didn't I?
Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Did the ship make an emergency stop for her? Are you out of mind? You say Buria made emergency stop. does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Use it to trigger the emergency alarm.
Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone, whatever. Hence the placement of a number of buttons across the vessel to allow any crewmen to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you! When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Was that you who did it earlier?
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. Oh my god. Hio sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. I mean, hey, we learned a lot, didn't we? Now. I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. Also, yes, I know I'm dealing with the sun glare right now, but it doesn't matter. I'm not barely even looking here. I don't even know why I have the webcam on. I'm not even looking at you. I'm too busy playing the game. So, what we must now consider.
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Hasogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiot. Borea is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop, even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? What evidence indeed? It's none of this stuff. Is it the ship log? Seaman Stroganoff? It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? That is correct. Why? In the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. You rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase, nothing to report, every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is... because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write, nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buria. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find it a little hard to believe myself. Oh? Why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no. That's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Oh, yes. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right. My head's been throbbing today too.
And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything had felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. And then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes. In fact, I had all of it. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No. Really? Is that really true?
The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consume it. A sleeping drug.
Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What?
Mr. Sholmes!
Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. What's a renegade? Renegade. That's the only thing I know, and I barely even know that.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I didn't notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Bitch, you didn't fucking like grind it out? and like just dusted it on the chicken or something? You actually put a whole tablet in there? Fucking hell, why did people eat it then? Nah, we could not make all drunk. How do you say dissolve? Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat, while all the passengers of the SS Buria slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-induced potion their evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make any sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? It was like late at night, wouldn't all the doors be locked anyway? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drugs. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes!
The overwhelming majority of passengers would happen to habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning.
But what happened with Kazuma?
You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life late last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. So someone that knew that Naruhodo was in there? Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl.
Are you a spy? You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. Is that bitch a fucking spy? A laudable trait. Wait. Where is... Oh, what? What does it say? Headlight rings renowned prima ballerina Novik ballet disappears from Shanghai. And then what's this? Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. A laudable trait. I think I might have read that already. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind.
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry.
You've lost me.
Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth.
What?
So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance if you please. With what exactly? With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said, of these two prevaricators, whatever. Observation.
If you remember, Miss Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two were there when it happened.
Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. A trace of something to indicate... Bitch! Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Ink. And look at the color too. It's clear where this came from. Bitch, what did you do to Kazuma? Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Oh, yes. Oh. Wait, how do you... Oh, fuck, I keep forgetting his voice. Duh. I don't know where that dirt comes from. I always think it's Holmes' voice. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to... Whatever, I don't fucking... Whatever. It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make a plain. Make it plain, I mean. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure.
Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is.
No.
Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink. Da. Babushka. Gorbachev. What is Gorbachev? Why did I say that? A rather unusual color of ink, purple. Ah, the penny drops. At last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. So he knew that he used a stone. And the stain on the back, and the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moment immediately after ink was spilled. Alright, yes. Duh, it was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in that student's cabinet to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Burial do emergency stop, and both cabin doors shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please. You must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kid escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes, that is right. I don't believe it. Soon after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabinet next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door of student's cabin and look inside.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared.
I understand.
And I believe you.
So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last?
No.
Something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events? A kitten, on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Huh? Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? What? I think the hands, maybe. I don't know which hand, though. This one? Alright, if he really fell due to the unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. What? You saw his body? You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there? My dear fellow,
You saw his body? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please!
Why, of course, my dear madame. Would I keep you in suspense? Her earring. She's a fucking bitch! This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Don't turn your head, lady. We know you have it. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes. I already know.
You bitch! You did it!
Oh, I should have fucking presented it.
She has such a petite ease among the beautiful hair, like little pink shells.
Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear.
Yes, that's an earring. Wait, look! It's a crescent moon!
Ah, there can be no doubt now, surely. Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. What? And on your other ear. There seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. You fucking bitch. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh no.
Angel. You did it, you stupid bitch. You fucking bitch. You fucking did it. No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible, long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment. Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at that moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? You did it because you misunderstood. Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet, and... As he turned around to look at me... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
I feel like an idiot. What happens when you're so invested in a fictional character? I think this is just the pent-up feelings I had as I was denying it from the beginning. Oh. Okay. He was just going to talk to Naruhodo, man, and you fucking stupid bitch. Oh my god. You pushed him so hard he fell to the floor and died. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, people are gonna think I'm a fucking dumbass for crying so hard over a fictional character. For fuck's sakes. And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thought on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Biff. If they find out, I'll be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one will suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway. In wardrobe, still sleeping. Right, that's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote whatever, so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been your problem?
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I...
May I stop you for a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know.
What?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? He's gonna come to me. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain. But he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done.
No! He was walking over to it! He was going to pull the cord! He was going to make them send me back!
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Oh, for fuck's sake, don't make it a big... Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? I know what he was going to do. He was going to ask us... Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? Don't do this to me. First, consider the victim's location within this cabin. Why do we have to do this? You're ruining the moment. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a long time in the wardrobe, but still, that cabin had been my home for this entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama?
Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manners of truth. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Don't play the sad music!
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. My wardrobe. I was there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with that sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would have never happened. Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may look as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly besides the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe.
And, more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion?
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Stupid bitch.
Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry.
Your sorries can't bring him back, you stupid cunt.
What have I done?
And so, at long last, I didn't want to believe it.
Why? This doesn't make sense. I don't care.
The mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. Imagine playing a game for like, what, 5 hours and being so heavily invested in people that aren't even real. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? While the Russians try to repatriate her, or whatever that word is. Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I am sorry. Seaman Stroganoff? I wanted to help her, Angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... Well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. But It looks like my study toward a Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. Why'd you put the fucking bone on the goddamn plate back in my room? To think that only days ago, Cosmo and I were laughing together about how we teared up the streets of London. That seemed like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh, she's in here with us. Girl, same. Susato-san?
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susato-san.
He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive that person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Oh.
Inspector.
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. And I failed. And caused his two closest friends to great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now. At least... Huh? Ah ha 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 ha. What? This is hardly the time! What are you doing? Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them. For all time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway after all. Ah ha 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 ha. He thinks this is funny? I got tears dried up on my face, and you're cracking jokes at a time like this?
Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all of your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heart-ending. Heart-rending? Whatever. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway.
The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant.
Was to be.
In the light of Mr. Asugi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh my god, I'm taking his place? We can do that? Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. Is that still Holmes? Okay, I couldn't tell. All you require is 1 lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
What? But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Mrs. Sato?
Yes?
Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Huh? But you are not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Miss Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo...
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by that time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mr. Sato?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our best spectacle inspector friend say? No, you're serious. 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No. It's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest. Give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character. No? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice.
Inspector!
After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations.
Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Miss Susato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too.
Goodness, what is it?
Please throw me to the ground.
What?
3 times!
What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would have never done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No! I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times.
That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it.
No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
Can I throw him instead? I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess, I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling?
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. Whatever. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. Oh, God. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw? Let's try to have some fun here, while my face is crusted with my tears. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not doubt. Demonstrate, my dear madame.
Oh, of course.
On me? Not on me.
Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry? Hey-ya! Why didn't you do it to fucking Holmes?
As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh, yes. Arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato Takedown, is it?
Actually, no. That was a Susato squash.
In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma? This is the last time I'm going to see Kazuma. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on the story tour is more than a little regular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Oh, of course. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see through it to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Kazuma. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. I'm like so fucking bummed. We just don't have him anymore. We didn't even go get to fucking tear the streets up in London. I'm so fucking bummed. I don't know. I'm like, I just, it doesn't seem, I like the, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just still like, I don't know. I have no thoughts. You know, at least Herlock Sholmes like redeemed himself at some point, and he wasn't the annoying twat that he was. But like, why did it resort to like having Kazuma die like that, right? A part of me still thinks that it's not like it can't be just that, right? There has to be something more to it. But like, is he gonna come back as a ghost? Like how it did with Mia? Like, what could possibly happen? I just don't know. It's just the fact that we weren't there to see it just makes me suspicious. But at the same time, I think that's just me denying reality. I don't fucking know. You ever fucking watch a grown woman cry over a goddamn fictional character? Probably have. But I mean, you can see it in real life. I don't know. Anyway, that's clearly where I'm gonna end today. I mean, this is a good place to end because we just finished a chapter. But also, I like that. I'm too sad. I'm too sad. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna cry myself some more to sleep tonight. Probably not really. But also, I will be sad about it. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. Here's hoping I don't cry again in this series. That was a lot of tears. Okay, bye!